recognize Mr. Ivey, the gentleman from Maryland, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I thank you for calling this hearing today. And I appreciate the panel of witnesses as well. Deputy Commissioner Mays, I was especially impressed with your testimony. I thought it was right up the alley of the types of things that we can do here on the committee and things that we should hear about. Your points about the school shootings, I thought was very helpful. And one thing I did have a question about, you mentioned, I think it was 94%, there's an opportunity to preempt some of these shootings because we have information that somebody's planning on doing it, and 94% of the time. I wonder if you could elaborate a bit on things that you think we could do, especially here in Congress, to help address that.
Thank you for that question. Those study numbers are compelling, and the INTAC, the National Threat Assessment Center study that I referenced in my written testimony, is not the only one. There are multiple studies, and again, they tell us that most attacks on schools, targeted violence, as it were, there's a pathway to violence, and if we can get involved and get the shooter off that pathway to violence, we have a chance at stopping something from happening. Unfortunately, there's no real shortcut. It's a roll up your sleeves and get out there and talk to the person, and intervention. It's a multidisciplinary team approach. I think certainly the United States Congress could help by more funding for those type of programs. Just last year in Tennessee, the multidisciplinary threat assessment approach in each school prior to last year was it was permissive but not required. A new state law has made that a mandate, and so part of the governor's initiative to put a Homeland Security agent in each of Tennessee's 95 counties is specifically to help coordinate that multidisciplinary approach which is needed. I hope that answers your question.
It does. I might follow up with you afterwards as well. And I did want to, actually I forgot to welcome our new member, Representative Kennedy from New York, and I take the chairman's point that we're close to having a quorum for New York delegation meetings here on the committee, but certainly welcome you. I did want to make a point too, with you, Mr. Chairman, and my colleagues here. I had a chance to go out and visit the Secret Service facility, which is in my district, where they do training. And some of the training they do, and I take the point from some of the testimony today about how important training can be. So I was quite surprised to see that our Secret Service doesn't have a facility for training on protecting the White House. So when they took me out to show me what they do, they took us to an open field, literally, and they said, imagine the tree line at the back is the White House, and the road that we're on would be Pennsylvania Avenue. And then they did the demo, with people coming in, and the dog went out and intercepted them and all of that. But it was like playing pickup football, and as a kid, the pine tree is the touchdown line. That's what they're doing, actually, to prepare for attacks on the White House. So one of the things I'd like to ask at some point, not today, obviously, but I hope that's the kind of thing that we can take a look at and try and figure out ways to help them get some kind of environment where they can do some training. The best they can do right now is Tyler Perry built a mock White House for a movie or something back. So they fly him down there and use this mock White House, which obviously isn't the same thing as the real thing, and certainly wouldn't be the kind of place that you'd want to do training to protect the President of the United States and the family. But that's what they've got right now. So I would love to have a chance for us to take a look at that as a committee and see if there's a way to step up on that front. And then finally, let me end with this, National Police Week. And I thank the chairman again for holding a hearing on the topic. I thank all of you for the service that you provide, the risks that you've taken, the sacrifices that you and your families have made, and for police officers around the country and their families as well. I was a local prosecutor. I first got elected in 2002. Before I took office, 2 police officers were gunned down trying to serve a warrant for a mental health issue. And they was in the guy's parents' house. They didn't know that he had a firearm. There's a guns issue. There's a mental health issue. I think all those are the kinds of things we need to talk about more as we move through these. But thank you to you and law enforcement officers around the country for the sacrifices you make and the work that you do to protect the country and our communities. And with that, I yield back.